Angel Di Maria has left Paris for Juve after 7 seasons. Isn't that insane? 7 seasons already, my god. Anyway, I find that Di Maria has often been one of those players who doesn't get some of the praise that he absolutely deserves, simply because he has been blessed with some supernatural teammates. Ronaldo, Bale, and Benzema, amongst others, while at Real Madrid, Neymar, Mbappe, and finally Messi, while at PSG, and of course, Paddy McNair and Marwan Fellaini, while at United. Anyway, the obvious stats, such as his goal contributions, paint a picture of an incredible talent, while his underlying stats would point to Angel Di Maria being an elite attacker, but going even further, as one of the best playmakers or setup men in world football. So why? Why isn't he regarded as such when speaking about the players who pull the strings best at the pinnacle of football? Hello, I'm Adrian, and welcome to a propaganda video I've had on the back burner for a while. A little Angel Di Maria propaganda video, as like I said, his numbers and his play would point to him being one of the best playmakers out there. By that, I mean someone who not only contributes with the final ball for a goal, but in the build-up, through goal and shot creating actions regularly. You'll see, some of these numbers may surprise you, as Di Maria continuously has gone under the radar. At the very least, by the end of this video, you'll be amazed by the numbers he has consistently put up. That again went under the radar, and at the very least, you should be leaving this video perhaps not convinced, but at least thinking or rethinking how you view Di Maria and his career. So, 2 things here, fellas. I had a big discussion about Di Maria in a Juve context with my friend Beppe. I've linked to that video below, so be sure to check it out. And second, there's something else listed below. A link to a free download of OneFootball, our sponsors for this video. OneFootball, you either know it and love it, or you are new to it and don't understand the power at your fingertips, as OneFootball has been growing their cast of live matches available for you to watch directly within the app. Yes, watch club friendlies, Austrian Bundesliga, and even Champions League qualifiers. Big up to OneFootball for those, all directly within OneFootball's app for free. And that goes with all of the other features, such as transfer rumor raters and trackers, match tickers, notifications sent directly to your phone regarding all of the latest breaking news from the clubs, competitions, and players you care about. Give them a follow within the app, and your home screen will be curated to your liking. So again, use the link in the description for a free download of OneFootball and give it a shot. Thanks, OneFootball, and let the Di Maria propaganda begin. Before we hit you with those raw numbers and analytics, a quick run through of A, why I love Di Maria, and B, how he has changed through the years. The answer to the first question is pretty obvious. I mean, I fell in love with Di Maria while he was at Benfica, of course. He was a rapid winger, technical winger, who could outpace defenders or beat them on the dribble. He would bring his other teammates into the game, he would score a goal now and then, and throw in a few Rabonas. When he left for Real Madrid, he continued to excel. His first season at Real saw him put up insane numbers. Again, everyone seems to have forgotten about that. But when Gareth Bale came in 2013, he had to adjust, and adjust Di Maria did. Carlo Ancelotti started playing him through the middle behind the striker, and the player who was once a nightmare from a wide position began to exhibit just how good his vision and ability to execute a line-breaking pass was. Since then, well, he hasn't necessarily been listed as a central attacking midfielder, because most often he is played on the right. He does love to drift inside, playing in the half spaces between the opposition's back line and their midfielders, and utilizing those moments where he has space and time in order to execute a killer through ball, or a cutback to a teammate, or a cross, whatever. No doubt you would have seen one of his many Rabona assists, which speaks to his weak foot being incredibly weak, but like Quaresma, he's come up with a creative way to make up for his weak foot, while simultaneously adding a ton of sauce to any play. And his numbers haven't suffered at all, so let's go through those now. In his first season with Real Madrid, the 2010-11 season, Di Maria made the jump from the Portuguese league to La Liga with aplomb. From 53 appearances, mainly on the right of course, he scored 9 and achieved 26 assists, and assists in every other match basically. His sophomore season was much more difficult, but from the 2010-11 season until last season's 2021-22 season, Angel Di Maria has shown that his knack for racking up assists should put him in the conversation as one of the best playmakers of his generation, but you rarely hear his name. Since the 2010-11 season, Di Maria has failed to accumulate 15 or more assists in just 3 of the 12 seasons. So in 9 of 12 seasons, Di Maria has had a minimum of 15 assists. Also in that same time period, he has managed to accumulate 20 or more assists in 4 of those 12 seasons, while he has had 25 or more assists 3 times in that 12-season time frame. Just ridiculous numbers, really. In fact, he became so adept at playing the setup man that during his time with Paris Saint-Germain, he became the record holder for the most assists in PSG's history, and by a long shot. Across all competitions, he has 119, which smashed the former record of 103 that was held by Safet Susic for years. At Real Madrid, he played just 4 seasons at the club, but he still managed to climb all the way up to 8th in the all-time assist rankings with 85. 85 assists, and in just 4 years, he's still amongst the likes of Cruz, Guti, Figo, Roberto Carlos, Marcelo, Raul, Ronaldo, and Benzema. Plus, in the Champions League, he has 36 assists from 99 appearances. As far as his underlying analytics, even in one of his worst seasons in the last decade, this previous one with PSG, where he made just 31 appearances, he still performed quite well in some respects. When it comes to passing, his expected assists per 90 sit at 0.39, which puts him still in the 99th percentile when compared to similar players in the top 5 leagues. Key passes per 90, that took a drop compared to other seasons, but with 2.84, he's still in the 96th percentile. Through balls per 90, 0.52 puts him in the 99th percentile, again in the top 1%. When it comes to chance creation, again, remember the 21-22 season was his worst and the least amount of appearances since the Man United days. But for shot creating actions per 90, he's in the 93rd percentile, the 92nd percentile for goal creating actions per 90, and the 98th percentile when utilizing his passing in particular. So I went through a few lists, whether they be fan-made by big publications or from actual award ceremonies, and Di Maria is basically nowhere to be seen when it comes to the top playmakers. So, some of the players that have been brought up the most in the modern era are Bruno Fernandes, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Thomas Müller, Kevin De Bruyne, Lionel Messi, etc. No mention of Di Maria anywhere, so let's look at some of their numbers compared to those of Di Maria to see if he deserves to be in the conversation, or if he was left out for good reason. Now, of course, assist accumulation isn't the only number to consider when talking about this, but it gives us a good idea of how effective a player's final ball can be. Of course, you're at the mercy of your teammates finishing when looking at assists, but this is a rather unscientific propaganda video, so shut up about it. I'm joking, but the comparison is interesting. So let's look at the players who are of a similar age profile to that of Di Maria in order to see how he stacks up against the guys who are considered to be some of the best playmakers / setup men on the planet. Kevin De Bruyne at 31 years old, Messi at 35, and Thomas Müller at 32. We'll look at their assist numbers from 2010-11 onward. Given that's a good amount of data to pull from, I'll be showing you a side-by-side stat shootout style season upon season, but the total amount of assists from 2010-11 onward, the entire body of their work, is what we'll look at. Anyway, De Bruyne is up first, and since the 2010-11 season, he has a record of 201 assists, his best output coming when he was with Wolfsburg. Thomas Müller, he really started to pick up a ton of assists recently, which does coincide with Lewandowski's goal output increasing as well, as Müller has been able to get 20 plus assists in each of the last 3 seasons. He has a massive number, 227 since the 2010-11 season. And of course, the alien that is Lionel Messi, celebrated for his goals, but his assist output should be celebrated far more as well. Of course, he leads the way with 262 assists across all competitions since the 2010-11 season. And Di Maria, 3rd place amongst the top playmakers that have been mentioned the most on many award shows, publications, and fan votes. And yet, curiously, Di Maria is rarely spoken of as one of the best playmakers out there. Because remember, the point of this video isn't to prove that Di Maria is the best playmaker of all time, that he's better than all of these guys. Nah, that ain't it. It's just to prove that he is amongst the best, should be spoken of amongst the best, and it's curious as to why he isn't. I would assume that when considering names or individuals as top playmakers, people would look to Di Maria, but then realize who else he plays with and talk themselves into overlooking him. Whether subconsciously or deliberately is another question altogether. This happened at Real Madrid, I guess, where the likes of Ronaldo will take the spotlight and everything Di Maria does seems less impressive. This happens now at PSG, where Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe took the spotlight from him. This happens for the Argentina national team. I mean, the guy is always in the shadow, isn't he? But the numbers at the club level speak for themselves, don't they? I guess in some ways there are those who discount Liga, which is a shame, but people do it anyway. They also discount Bundesliga, but hey, there's that. If the arguments for his numbers being better than other players is that he has a different role than them, then that still doesn't really rule out just why he isn't spoken about as much as a playmaker as these other players. If the argument is, yeah, well, XYZ player had slightly better numbers than him, then that isn't really a slam dunk either. That's just proving the point further. Why wasn't Di Maria at least mentioned alongside these players, especially when his assist numbers at least compete with these guys? Whatever the arguments for or against it, the main point of this is Di Maria should absolutely at least be in the conversation when speaking about some of the most dangerous, and even better, some of the most effective playmakers in modern football that are still active today. With over a decade of pedigree, that all but washes out any discounting of competitions or what have you from the naysayers, in my opinion, especially with what he's done at Real Madrid in just 4 seasons and in the Champions League as well. Pedigree is built over time, and Di Maria, in my eyes, has built up enough to be considered one of the best playmakers of this generation. Anyway, that's all I've got for this propaganda publication, which was paid for in part by Di Maria Industries Limited. I'm joking. That company doesn't exist, right? Well, actually it does, as a thermoplastics molding company that specializes in clothing hanger fabrication. Not quite something El Fideo would specialize in, to my knowledge. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this propaganda, then be sure to subscribe for more propaganda in the future. Beyond that, check out Bepe's video in the description as I've linked to it, and have a wonderful day. Ciao!